and this session is being recorded. Brilliant. And we are on the top of the hour, so it is go time. So, it is go time. Yay. So, good morning, good cough. Good, hopefully you didn't have too much of a storm to everyone. I'm extremely pleased to have Mark on the call today. And what we're going to talk about today is the 52K clients. Actually, it's a total exaggeration. It was 1997 clients, right, Mark?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So well, 3 times 50 is $150 in 50 days. So the backstory to this whole thing is that Mark, I've known Mark since May, something like that. Anyway, yeah. Mark reached out to me and said, "Hey, look, do you want to have a look at my new program, Digital Millionaire Bootcamp?" And I said, "Thanks, Mark, for giving me about 2 minutes' notice." Yeah, I really, I am grateful. Anyway, so we started chatting, and Mark said, "Well, the whole thing is based on me basically getting 52K clients in 50 days through Facebook, using mostly or just exclusively posts, right? You didn't do any paid advertising?"
Oh no, no. I did a few sponsored posts,
okay,
but
cool.
Yeah, there was no kind of official Facebook ads.
Okay, cool. So the purpose of this is basically to go through this because I'm genuinely interested, and I think it's of great value for anyone who cares to listen. So on the menu today, so we can all mentally prepare for this. And by the way, this is meant to be interactive. If anyone has questions for Mark, please do type that into the chat box. We're here to pick Mark's brain. And there is no real PowerPoint presentation. There's not oh, surprise, there's a big pitch at the end. Although there will be, of course, an opportunity for Mark to quickly tell us about Digital Millionaire Bootcamp. So, what I had in mind, the no agenda was a couple of questions, basically just a handful. First one is, how did you do the whole FB magic thing? Then I would love to talk about the target audience, both how did you use that on Facebook, and also what did you have in mind when you created your product? Market research, how did you decide what to deliver and in what order? Then when I started talking about Mark, the first thing that struck me was everything he said, everything he's doing, absolutely everything is all about quality, reputation, and delivering on promise. Okay, that was the thing. I've never told you this, Mark, but it's the first thing that really stuck out when you said, you need to make sure you over-deliver at all times. And I would love to talk about that quickly. And then use of proof in sales material, because I'm sure if you just say, "Hey, give me $2,000," it's not going to be quite as useful as using some powerful proof. So these are the main points, and then we have a couple of minutes wrap up at the end on your latest program, the actual program that was delivered here. So let's have a look at the 52K clients on Facebook alone, the FB magic. So when we started talking, and I'm going to hand over to you now, you said, well, there's no real magic, but to most people it will seem like absolute magic. So run us through it, how you did it.
Okay, so I'll take you back to, I think it was around about March. I made the decision that I wanted to buy a new car. This is how this came about. I was talking to my friend Lewis Turner, another internet marketer, and I said, I want to buy a new car, and I was looking at cars, and I wanted to buy, I've always been a fan of Audi, and I wanted to buy an R8 supercar, which in terms of buying them in England, you're looking at about 100, and the one I wanted was about £107,000. Anyway, I did the conversion to dollars because obviously everything I earn is in dollars, and it worked out to be something like $197,000. So I said, okay, I need a quick way to make $197,000 on top of my kind of general income online. That was the goal. Just in the next month or 2 months or 3 months, can I make an extra couple $100,000? So that was the plan.
So on top of normal expenses, you mean, of course, all the money your better half is spending.
Yeah, exactly. So on top of handbags and shoes and all those things. So I stopped and thought, okay, so how can I do it? So I always try and reverse engineer everything that I do, so or kind of engineer success, if you like. So I said, okay, so let's call it, let's round it up, call it $200,000. So I sat down and I thought, right, so I could either sell I could either try and sell 1,000 copies of a product at $197, or I could try and sell 100 copies of a product at $2,000. So that was the thought process. And I went back and forth over the two for a while, and I thought the chances of me being able to sell 1,000 copies of something, it's obviously a lot, of something at what is now really considered kind of a mid-ticket price, with all these product launches happening at, like, $5 and $7 and $10.
Yeah.
$197 has gone from being relatively low ticket to relatively what I would call mid-ticket, just the mindset of our marketplace. So I thought, okay, so the chances of me being able to do that by myself are quite slim, and therefore I would probably need to do a launch and have affiliates, and to do that would then mean giving half the money away, which would mean selling twice the number of copies. So that was less attractive. I then thought about trying to do 100 copies of a program at $2,000. So the way this came about was I looked at it and I set myself 100 days originally, 100 days, which would have taken me from whatever the day was, I forget now, whatever that day was, through until the 1st of July. Day number 100 would have been the 1st of July. And I said, right, so on the 1st of July, my goal is to have the money to buy the car. So that's what happened. I set about a goal for doing this and decided what I was going to sell, worked it all out, created everything, the concept, etc. And literally, I did a poll on Facebook. So this is just to my Facebook, which, if I look at it now, currently has 2,321 friends on my Facebook profile.
So very quickly, just to clarify, this is your personal profile. It's not a page you set up for anything. It's just people who are connected to you personally.
Yeah, so this is just a profile. My page at the time, since I've used it more often, it's now up to about 1,000 fans, but my page only had about 2 or 3, maybe 200 people on it at the time, so that wasn't a particularly big deal.
So the poll you did was for your personal profile or your page?
I did both, but the main response came from the profile.
Okay, just to put things into perspective, when you started that, what kind of interaction did you have going already on Facebook? How much of an established, I'm posting on a regular basis, I'm chatting to people? Were you an active Facebook user or an occasional, checker?
Yeah, I guess I did use Facebook quite a lot. I had never at this point ever just posted a blatant pitch for anything. I'd never posted anything just saying, I'm doing this, please buy.
Yeah.
But I was quite regularly on Facebook, probably, a few times a day, just posting things about what I was up to and photographs. And so people there's a lot of people I've connected with since, as my business has grown, kind of well-known marketers who when I've got in touch have said, I've said, you probably don't know who I am. And they say, well, no, but I do know of you. Like, I've seen you around. I've seen stuff that you're doing. So it was kind of on that level. So I did this poll and literally said, if you're making less than, say, $10,000 a month, which was really my target for the coaching thing, if you're making less than $10,000 a month, what would you, and you were going to get a coaching program, you were going to find a mentor, you were going to join some kind of coaching. Let's imagine that I'm going to create a coaching program and you want to join it. And let's imagine that it's $2,000. How would you like the coaching to work? Would you like it to be 6, 7, 8 weeks of webinars, like a one-off crash course? Or would you like it to be an ongoing chain of, webinars with, coaching videos and webinars more regularly and, maybe email access to me and all these other things? And that was the two options. In other words, 6 to 8 week crash course or long drawn out, ongoing process. And I thought it would be a no-brainer. I thought everyone would come back and say, well, I won't be coached for you, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever for the one-off fee. But surprisingly, everybody came back. Well, almost everybody. It was over 50% of people came back and said, I'd like the 6 to 8 week crash course, please. And I thought, it wasn't really my intention. That wasn't my plan. I was kind of hoping that it would be real. I thought honestly I could deliver better value with the longer term thing. In that, truthfully, the best will in the world, there aren't many people who start learning a system today and have learned everything there is to know and have made their money back within 6 to 8 weeks. So that was kind of my thought. But the market had spoken, so I thought, okay, so we'll give this a shot. So I went away and I spent that evening, same day or maybe the day after, basically with a mind map and mind mapping out everything I would want to teach in the program. And literally the program was designed, I guess, to take somebody who was currently kind of flapping around, not really getting anywhere, not really doing anything, and give them some kind of structure, give them some kind of direction to follow. So basically, I planned out the system on a mind map, and it was and broke it down into what was initially going to be, I think it was originally going to be 8 modules. It ended up being 10 because other stuff jumped into my head as we were going through it. And basically, it started literally. The idea was I wanted to start with, this is the concept of selling information online. Here's the kind of here's how it works. Here's why we can take information, package it up into these products, and sell it to whatever marketplace you choose to go into. And then the initial bit was, here's how you start at the beginning in terms of getting a domain name, buying website hosting, like right at the, this is how you turn a computer on, kind of real basics. Through to ultimately, the last module, going over the concept of combining all the different elements they'd learned into what could be certainly a 6 and potentially even a 7-figure business, and expanding it and looking at just the numbers of what's possible.
Okay,
So
Mark, let me quickly interrupt you there. Super important information here is basically, and I see, I've gone through this, you've gone through this, and most people initially go, this can't possibly be the case. I know better. The big problem is when you know what the answer is, it is so tempting to go in and just create the solution. And what you've done here is exactly the opposite. You've gone in and said, look, forget about what I know. Let's ask what they want and what they need, and then we will create the solution around that. So this is probably one of the most important things when creating a product. Now, one big question I have around this is, it was kind of the second point here on the screen, the target audience, because what you've just told me is you've created a course which is effectively for beginners. I mean, if you are starting at the level of, this is how you create a domain, this is how you set up a blog, this is how you get the first traffic in, that is aimed at someone who's completely new. How did that come about when you were doing your poll, or you were talking to your audience? At what point did you decide, actually, I need to do something that's for complete beginners, as opposed to, someone who's been around for a couple of years and actually has all this basic stuff in place?
Okay, so I realized that there were the majority of, well, first of all, the majority of our marketplace is undeniably made up with people who have made no money. Now, they are then broken down into people who literally are new and have done nothing. They're too busy buying things and looking at stuff. And then the other half of the market are the people who kind of have done stuff. So they've sort of got a blog, but they only post to it once every 3 years, and then they've got an email list of like 12 people, and they're kind of like, they understand it and they've started it, but it's not working for them. So I realized that those two groups of people collectively make the majority of our marketplace. Now, the other part of this was, I realized there's a lot of people who are doing stuff, but like, for example, they might have launched the WSO and made even a couple of thousand sales, but then from there, then they haven't done anything with it. So, in terms of their actual money, once they've paid affiliates and prizes and everything, they've actually probably got very little left. And then once they get beyond that point, they've really done nothing with it. And to give an example of this, there's one of the students who joined the program had done a couple of WSO launches. He'd had a WSO of the day. I think he'd turned over $17,000,
Nice.
products and all the rest of it. So a good starting point, and then came and joined this program for $2,000 with me, and basically now, actually I was just watching a recording of a video he did yesterday about my program, and literally said like what my program gave him was the next step. What even though he had the basics set up, I think it allowed him to really see clearly how to build it out into more than just one WSO launch, and build it out into a more sustainable, evergreen, consistent business. So I realized that even if I was going to start a program for complete beginners, ultimately I could sell it to anyone who was making less than $10,000 consistently every month, because I wanted to talk more about, rather than just launching a product here and launching a product there and then that kind of side of things, I wanted to talk about building it into more of a consistent business where you start going, and then you start trying to get up to $100 a day, and then you start trying to get up to $200 a day, and then $300 a day, and then at the moment you're on $300 a day, that's $109,000 a year, and then keep going and eventually build it up and up and up and up.
Okay.
So I realized that it was that the marketplace, despite making the product for kind of the newbies, if you like, I realized that I could also sell it to more advanced people who had done stuff if they weren't quite in the direction they wanted to be in yet.
Okay, cool.
So I did the poll, as I said, and yes, absolutely important, because I would have gone about creating a product that nobody wanted. So I did the poll on Facebook. I didn't even email it to my list. I could have done, but I didn't. I just did it on Facebook. And I guess, we live in this world. We live in obviously the internet marketing community is pretty much a great thing. There's very little kind of bitching and backstabbing that goes on publicly anyway. And I realized this, and I go to lots of networking events, lots of marketing events and seminars and conferences all over the world, and I've now started speaking at events in America and here and with that. So I get to meet lots of people. Whenever I meet people, a lot of people say, "Oh, do you have a business card?" And I don't carry them, and I just say, "No. Mark Milburn's the name. Add me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to chat there." And I think doing that has built me this big collection of people who are pretty much all interested in marketing. I didn't really use Facebook before I got into internet marketing, so most people on my Facebook are, apart from a few family and friends, are internet marketers. So I did the poll, got the results fine, went away, built out the mind map literally of what I wanted to cover, and it went from Module 1 being all about getting set up online, for running it like a real business, organization, structure, scheduling your time, etc. Module 2 was all about building a blog and building an email list. So I call that the central profit hub of a business. That's the blog and the mailing list. Module 3 was all about building products. Module 4 was all about getting traffic to those products. Module 5 was all about doing affiliate marketing once you started to build your list and get a list of both subscribers and customers. And then Module 6 was all about scaling that up, building it to the next level, how you take all of those different elements, the key fundamental elements of the business, and grow them out into a 6 or even what I've done 7-figure business. And then we did some other stuff. There was a module on membership sites, there was a module on outsourcing, there was a module on building sales funnels, and a module I called the $1 Million Manifesto, which is literally where we break down exactly what all of those different elements and how the numbers break down to turn over $1 million a year. Now, obviously, there are very few people who are going to do that straight away. It took me 3 years to get to that point. But obviously, even some people won't even want to get to that point, and those who do should be happy to work for 2 or 3 years to get there. So really, that was the point of the program. And because it was kind of an intensive 8 to 10 week kind of crash course, I called it the Digital Millionaire Boot Camp, because I like the idea of it being like an intensive. You get started, and by the time 10 weeks later you're done, you've got everything you need. Off you go and do it.
Okay.
So that was the idea of the program, I guess.
So let's look back at Facebook. So you've done your initial poll. People tell you this is what I want. You kind of went out, mind mapped the whole thing. You now have the structure in place. Now, the first thing is, did you now go and create the product, or did you now go into launch mode and start seeing if there's any real traction? I mean, real traction in the sense of people are actually excited. Because when we talked on Skype the other day, you said, well, really all you did was post for about 50 days, and then you launched it, and that was that. So let's talk through that, or talk me through that process of now posting regularly on Facebook to get people engaged, and then ultimately into the program.
Yeah. So then what I did was I said, okay, so assuming this works and assuming it happens, obviously I need to do these webinars live. So what I did was I allowed myself around about 60 days. So I counted forward. I literally opened up my calendar on my Mac. I counted forward 60 days to where I was going to start the actual live calls, and thought, okay, so that's where I'll start. And what we'll do is I'm going to try and sell 50 places between now and then if I wanted to, I could keep selling it. And basically people would join in where they were. So in other words, wherever we are in the calls, you could join in by watching back the replays of the previous calls and then join us on the next live call. That was kind of the goal. So that's what I did. I set about doing the calls. I set about organizing the calls and scheduling them in my calendar and things. So then what happened next? I guess I went to Facebook again, and I was very much of the opinion that I wanted to sell this and then create the content, because obviously I knew that people were willing to contribute to my poll, but I didn't know whether they actually were willing to put $2,000 into my car fund.
Exactly.
So what I did, and I've done this a lot in terms of selling a webinar class, and then I probably made over $100,000 from that. Before this, in the past year or so, just from doing these every 3 or 4 months, just randomly think of an idea and then do a webinar, sell 10, 20 places in a program at $1,000 or $2,000, and then do a 4, 6, 8 week live crash course on, whatever it is, traffic, affiliate marketing, list building, whatever it is I fancy doing that particular time. So whereas actually the truth is, if I took the same content and packaged it into a little video product and tried to sell it on the Warrior Forum, it probably would sell for no more than $27 maybe. But just by doing that content as live webinar classes and doing it over an 8-week period, you can sell it for probably 100 times the money in the end result.
Well,
so I did that.
very important at that point is, if anyone goes, well, that doesn't sound fair, it is actually fair because there's a totally different thing. First of all, you're getting live access to you, or anyone who's doing the webinar. But more importantly, you've got the personal involvement because or the incentive to actually do something with information because you've just invested $1,000. But also because it's I'd call it drip feed. It's not all dumped in your lap in one go. You're much more likely to actually go consume the information and implement it, as opposed to going and buying whatever. I'm always amused when I see bonuses and you get 700 hours of my whatever training. I'm going, who's going to consume 700 hours? Whereas if you have this model, you've got the 1 to 2 hour session per week. Now you go and take it, implement it, and go away. So as a note for anyone who's considering doing this, it's perfectly okay to charge $1,000 for or $2,000 for the live thing, because it's a whole different value creation process here, as opposed to packaging it up as a big bundle and then selling it for $17, $27. I mean, there's still value in the $27, but it's a different type of value. Alrighty,
yeah,
back to you.
I mean, actually, I think it's interesting. The other thing, of course, is value is completely subjective, I guess. I created a list building course a couple of years ago and was going to sell it as a $27 or $37 product, and then Frank Kern released his list control course, and I thought, well, I'll buy this in case there's anything in it that I could kind of rehash and utilize. So Frank Kern released list control. It was $2,000, so $2,000 I spent on that. And then I looked at my course, and my course had as much information in it as Frank Kern's. Different information, but mine has as much information. I took a slightly different route to him. He went down paid advertising. I went down free traffic and things. But I looked at the two products, and I thought, actually, other than the fact that he's Frank Kern, I think my product is as good as list control was. But he was selling it for $2,000, and it's just genuinely how you can package it and how you can sell it. And if people buy it and they believe they've got value from it, that's all that really matters.
As an interesting side note there, well, interesting in the sense of I find it interesting. When he came out with it, I have it too, but Fabian Fredriksson, who's in the personal development world, bought it as well, and within like a week came out with her own version of list control. It was basically just re-narrated in her own voice. And there you go. Yep. So it's just package information. Thank you very much. Cool. So
absolutely. So I did the so I planned it all out and worked out what I wanted to do with it and things. And then I thought, okay, so in 60 days' time we'll do the first live call. So I put that in my calendar as being the date that we were going to start the first live call. I can't remember what that date was now, but it was 60 days after that day. And then I said, okay, so now I need to, I know what I'm going to do, so I need to now post on Facebook and see if anybody will actually give me the money. So I went to Facebook and I said, in a few days' time, I'm going to be opening the doors on my $2,000 coaching program. This is what it's going to basically consist of. And literally that was all it was. It's like a 3-line status. And I said, if you're interested, please like this status, and I'll be back in touch, ... So that was that, and a few people liked it, probably 6 or 7 people liked it. And I thought, okay, well, 6 or 7 people is not the 100 I'm looking for, but still.
It's basically the tires, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the tires. So I said, okay, that's that. So I left it a couple of days, and I thought, okay, I literally just sat tapping my foot for a couple of days. Right, that's long enough, so I went for it. And I posted the first Facebook status, and literally it just said, okay, today's the day. I've opened the doors on my brand new coaching program. If you're making less than $100,000 per year online, and you want to work with me to build your business over the next few weeks, please PM me, and I'll send you all the information that you need. So that happened, and I posted the status, and I think I paid I think it was like £4 or something, £4 sterling to sponsor the status. Now, as a side note, I don't know if this is something that's happening for everybody worldwide, but whenever I sponsor a post on Facebook, and I hope nobody from Facebook listens to this, that money gets refunded to me within a couple of days because they appear to have their PayPal set up wrong. I know it's happening to a lot of people in England, but whether it's happening internationally or not, I don't know.
I wish. No. The answer is no.
Now, Facebook ads, they charge me as normal, but sponsored posts where you just click to promote the post, literally it charges me, and then within 2 or 3 days, I pay through PayPal. And then in 2 or 3 days, I get an email back saying, Facebook settings for PayPal to receive money are wrong, blah, 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 blah. They haven't accepted it, so we've refunded it. So I've actually had probably 4 or 5, no, maybe 100 or 200 sponsored posts over free. And they don't know this is happening.
No, unfortunately, it's not happening for me.
Oh, maybe it's an English thing. Maybe it's just happening in pounds. Anyway, so I did this. So I sponsored the post. I hadn't realised this for a while, but I sponsored the post, paid the £4, whatever it was, and went about my business. And within a few minutes, a guy had sent me a message on Facebook. He's a young guy. I think he's only like 16, and asked about the coaching program and said, "Can you send me all the?" No, he just said, "Mark, I'm in," but you don't even know what it is yet. So I said, and I looked at him and I thought, he only looks young. I mean, I'm only 26 myself, but I looked at him and I thought, he only looks young. And I said, okay, fine. So I sent him all the details, and literally all I did was I wrote a message. It said, hey, thank you for your message. I'm really glad that you're interested in the coaching. Here's basically how it's going to work. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks' time, we're going to do these webinars. If I feel that we need to go on further and do 9, 10, 11, 12, then I will do. But ultimately, it starts as the only thing I'm guaranteeing is it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. It could be longer, but it'll definitely be 6 to 8 weeks minimum. These are the kind of things we're going to cover. This is where we're going to start, this is where we're going to end. And I literally just went through bits of the mind map and said, and this is all just in one Facebook PM inbox message, literally just said, you'll learn how to build a blog, how to get your email list and things, how to start creating products really quickly, even if you think you know nothing or have nothing to share. We'll help you choose the right marketplace to sell to, we'll help you get sales funnels built, all those kind of things. And the price is $2,000. The only other thing they got on top of that was they had email access to me, so they could email me with things, and that was that. So I sent that to him, and he came back and said, how much was it? So I replied, $1,997. Sent. A couple of minutes later, came back, okay, great, where do I send it?
Nice.
And I think at that moment, that had happened within probably 20 minutes of posting that first status. At that moment, I thought, oh, okay, well, that's $1.99 to go. So I gave him my PayPal address, and he sent the money over to PayPal. It popped through. I've got the PayPal app on my iPhone, so it beeped and said, you've received $1,997 from this guy. So I was, okay, great. Okay, now it's serious. Now I've got to either do it or refund that money. So that was that. So the following day, by the time this happened, it was probably about midnight, so I then went to bed. So the following morning when I woke up, I had 3 or 4 more private messages from various people. So I replied to them all, and of those 4 or 5, probably about another 2 came back and said, okay, that's great, where do I send the money, and bought the product. And basically I now sat back and thought, okay, so if I could sell one of these a day for the next 100 days, that would be my 100. That would be my 100 places at $1,997. And I realized it felt like an enormous target, especially as I was due to start the coaching in like 60 days, and anyone who bought it after those 60 days would just kind of have to join in wherever they were.
Oh, now very cool.
I
just realized. So you told people on the PM, oh, by the way, this is not starting for another 2 months.
Oh yeah. I said, yeah, we're starting on the whatever the date was, but it was 60 days.
Okay.
At least it was 60 days after.
Yeah. And did you give them any pre-launch content, something to get them excited, or a particular bonus for signing up early, or anything like that?
No, I gave them the world's worst opt-in form, so I had them on a list. It was literally just I made a list in Aweber and then went to the publish page and literally got it so that Aweber would host the form, so you know that the URL was
.com. Oh, I love that. By the way, the reason I'm asking that question is because it is so easy to go, oh, what if they don't if they don't want to wait 2 months? What can I possibly do? Overcomplicate, analyze, overwhelm, and there's no need for it. So as clearly demonstrated here, even with 2 months of waiting, there was no need to do anything. You got some payments
Now
right
I look
then.
back at it, Now I look back at it, it feels ridiculous, but I just didn't even. I thought, well, this isn't an issue. If they want the training, they can wait. So I sent him the message, and he paid for it obviously. And then the following day, a couple of other people paid. And as I said, the only thing they did was I created a Facebook group for them to hang out in and chat while we were waiting, and I gave them this opt-in form to get on the list, so I can email them when stuff was ready. So I basically now spent the next 60 days, apart from just running my business and obviously making money with my other products and stuff, and doing webinars and things, I kept running just these Facebook posts, and every day I just tried to come up with something that was a bit different and angle it at slightly different people. So a few of the statuses I angled directly towards the solo ad industry. So anyone who's currently making a few $100s a day or $100 a day with solo ads, which has obviously become a real thing at the moment, I kind of targeted them and specifically said, look, solo ads is a good way to make money online if you're getting started. It's quick, it's easy, etc. But it's not massively scalable in that you always have to invest some time into doing what you're doing, and ultimately your income is always going to be capped based on how many clicks you can deliver with each email you send and how many emails you can get away with sending every day. So your income is always going to be capped by those two things. Whereas if you create an information product and sell it for $7, $100, $1,000, whatever, obviously your income is unlimited in that how it comes down to how many of those things you can sell, how many copies of that you can sell, how much traffic you can get. So I said, look, if you want to learn how to build a more scalable, consistent business, then PM me. I've got this new coaching program. So we had a few solo ad sellers that send me a message, and I replied to them, and 3 or 4 more of those replied. And for the first couple of weeks, I managed to get it to about 1 a day. Then there was a couple of people who I went through a period where there was a few people said, I don't really have the money yet, but I'll have it in a week or so. And I immediately kind of wrote those people off. For a start, I'm not somebody that wants to sell anyone into debt, so I would never. If you don't have it comfortably to give me, then I'd rather not take it. Likewise, if you don't have it, if giving me that money means that you might not be able to pay the heating bill that month, then again, I'd rather not take it. I don't need it that badly, but those people obviously do. So I always kind of said, okay, but don't give me your last $2,000. Make sure you've got money to live beyond that, because I'm not going to promise you that you're going to make money by next week. This is an investment. So some of those people said, okay, thanks for your honesty, and went away and didn't come back. But I felt good about it, and then other people came back and said, okay, so I've managed to move some stuff around. I've managed to take this out of world savings we have, and blah blah blah, and I can comfortably afford it. And then that was fine. So there was a period of time where after the first couple of weeks where it stopped being 1 per day, but I managed to make it average 1 per day. So we might sell 3 one day, but then none for the next 3 days. So that was fine, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and we got to 50 days, and we sold, I think it was actually 51 places in the program. So we got very close to the time where we were starting the program, and I decided to stop selling it at that point. I thought my target was 100, but at this point I'm going to stop selling it. So we got to the actual date that we started doing that we'd scheduled for the live training. I basically and actually, that 60th day, we didn't actually start the live trading. What I actually did was on that day, I then sent an email to everyone who'd bought the product and posted in our little Facebook group and basically said, okay, so we're ready to start the training. I think this was a Tuesday. So we're ready to start the training. Now, I just wanted to quickly determine what's the best day and time each week for you to have the call, so we can get as many of you on it as possible. So I sent out, because we had people obviously from all around the world. So I sent out that email, and it was a SurveyMonkey survey with just 2 questions. What's the best 2 days a week for the webinar? What's the best 2 times a week for you to attend the webinar? And then I realized I'd average it out and work out the best one. So I sent that out, and everybody came out and said Tuesdays. The best result was Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. in the UK. So I said, okay, we'll do that then. And then I realized, oh, Tuesday was yesterday. Okay, so we're going to start next Tuesday. So
Okay.
actually, there was like another week thrown on top of that. But nobody's complained. Nobody said anything bad. They were all just, I kept just posting in the group. That was the only kind of thing I gave them, I guess. I kept posting in the group, and who's excited? This is what's happening. So that happened. I then said, okay, so the first webinar was called The Business Big Bang, and again, it was all about just making sure you start your business in the right way and do everything right. So I launched, so I sat down, I opened Keynote or PowerPoint, started making the presentation, and literally what I'd done was I spent probably a day mind mapping the actual content of that particular module. What did I want to talk about in terms of organization and goal setting and objectives and the concept of internet marketing and the why people spend money online and why people buy information products and all of that fundamental basic stuff. Plus, how to buy domain names and web hosting and that kind of thing. So I mind mapped it out, and then from there, I have this kind of content creation thing that I do where I took the PowerPoint presentation and basically mapped out all of the slides first in terms of just the title of the slide.
Yeah.
So I ended up with probably, I don't know, I'm going to guess 20, 30, 40 slides that literally just had the title of each section of, based on the individual sections of the mind map. I then went through and filled out all of those with bullet pointed content. So that way I find that the stuff I create has more of a structure than if I was just to start writing randomly at the beginning and keep working through until the end.
And by the way, as a quick note here, this is basically the secret to creating great products. What you've just said there. And it's so easy to brush past it, but to create an outline, whether it's for a webinar, for a PowerPoint presentation, an article, whatever, come up with the high-level bullets and then fill them in later. If you go in and start with a blank screen and go, right, now I'm going to start writing, that is never going to work. And, I've worked with guys who come to me and go, right, would you like to help? This is, real story. Can you help me launch War and Peace, everything we know about mobile marketing? This is a couple of years ago when mobile started getting really big. I'm going, yeah, sure, I'll help you. And it dragged on for months and months and months because he was writing from the beginning and then suddenly realized, oh, I could add this to the introduction. The introduction itself was 2 hours at the end. And then, it ended up basically being scrapped because no one is going to listen to a 2-hour introduction. I even asked him, can you do an introduction to the introduction, which ended up being half an hour introduction to the introduction, because he didn't follow that simple plan. And whether you do it in a mind map or what I like to do is basically a combination of mind map but also my whiteboard and take post-it notes. Write down everything you want and then start grouping it. And you go, now I've got my big bullet points and I can fill them later. So, all right, cool. Very good point.
So I think, it just makes sure that the product has a beginning, a middle, and an end rather than just writing. And you find that if you just start and write, whether it's an ebook with chapters or whether it's a video presentation with slides or whatever, if you just start writing and writing and writing, then you get halfway through and you realize, I've missed this out, this should have gone earlier, and then you end up not really knowing where everything is and have to move stuff around, and it's just hard work. So that's definitely what I did. So I went through and made the presentation that way, and then that was that. And I said, okay, fine. Right now is the moment. I'm about, I'll schedule a webinar with GoToWebinar for next Tuesday. Sent everyone their registration link, and then I spent that period of time building the structure for the membership area, which I built originally using the Kajabi platform. So literally, I built the members area, and the pages. Not very exciting. It was just homepage, training modules, resources, bonuses, and contact me. And literally that was all it was. And I looked at it, no, there's people that's $2,000 for this, and this wasn't originally obviously what I anticipated to make. Originally, I wanted to do a long, ongoing, massive, big training program to go on for months and things. So God, I hope they like it. So I did the first webinar, and I was asked for feedback at the end of the call, and I say, if you've liked this webinar, please let me know in the chat box. I'd love to get like a star rating out of 4 or 5 stars. What did you think of it? How did it go? And all of the feedback from everybody on the call, there were probably like half the paying students actually on the call. If anybody's never done a webinar class before listening to this, then you will find that even if you sell 100 places at $10,000, you'll still get the majority of people won't make any of the live calls. They'll just listen to the recordings. It's just the way live webinars are. Even if you specifically time it so that you can get the majority on the call, you'll still get most people won't turn it. So I did the thing. We had roughly half on, I think. Did the call. We got massive feedback. Everybody was saying 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 6 stars out of 5, all this other great stuff. And I was like, wow. So that was that. We recorded the webinar, put it in the members area overnight, sent everyone their link for it and stuff. and that was that. So I kept doing it week on week, each week doing the next module. When I got to about module 3, we did the product creation thing, and I stopped and thought, oh, the next module is about traffic in my structure. That's not a great idea. I should really do something on building a sales funnel, because all of these modules, by the way, were like 2 hours long, and had a Q&A at the end. So I realized that I'd done the product creation module. By the time I'd created the slides, my original intention was to have product creation and building the sales process all in one module, till I started doing it and realized product creation took over the whole module by itself.
Yep.
So after I'd done the product creation module, I thought, okay, well, there's no point in me teaching people how to drive traffic until they've got something to drive the traffic to. At the moment, they've just got a product if they follow this through. So I thought, okay, so what we'll do at this point, we'll pause. We'll do a bonus module, which I call automated sales cash machines, I think, or automated sales machines, which is all about building these sales funnels. So I did that module and stuck that in there, and then we went back to module 4 and module 5 and so on and so forth. And then at the end, we had these bonus modules on outsourcing and membership sites and a few other things. So I got to that point, and literally we got to the end of the training, and the feedback was just really good. I'd built this kind of vibrant little community in the Facebook group with just everybody chatting and helping each other out, and everybody got on really well. And I'd said to everybody on the call, you can have a 365-day pretty much money back guarantee. And which was obviously a kind of a ballsy thing to do. So that's what I wanted to be completely transparent when I sold it, and put everything in my favour. So I said 365-day money back guarantee, and literally, having said that, the 365 days isn't up, but to this point we've had no refunds. But what we have had is a testimonial from every single person saying that they've absolutely had their money's worth and they couldn't be more delighted. So they don't really have any. They couldn't really refund at this point. They've had everything and said it was great. So.
Cool.
We've had a testimonial from every one of the 50 people that joined the call.
Very important. Testimonials, yes. Make sure. Actually, I saw them on your thing. So let's quickly run through this high level. We've already gone 40 minutes, so let's start wrapping up. Really, you've done no major, massive campaign, apart from, and this is what I wanted to highlight on my next slide, and I think it's here. All right. No, I haven't put it in here, so I need to put it in here, and that is this. The hustle. Alrighty? So basically what strikes me here is that a lot of people they go in and they hear these things, like in online marketing, you basically set up all this thing and it's passive income, and you don't need to do anything, you don't need to talk to anyone, blah, blah, blah. And what you've done there is basically you've hustled. You've gone, right, I've made one sale, I need to go back to Facebook and hustle some more and basically find people. And the way you did it was by looking at, oh, look, who else could use this? All right, people with solo ad background. Oh, look, people with whatever, all this kind of thing. And it's something, I've actually gone through your training. It's what you basically preach. You walk the talk. You show how to do that in your, for example, how to attract affiliates. Well, you don't magically fire up some tool and go, dump out the top 50 vendors on ClickBank. No, you actually hustle. You go in. And that, in my opinion, is probably the biggest secret for making it. I mean, what I've got on here, the insights summarized of why I believe you are as successful as you are, and why pretty much anyone who's successful online is successful. First of all, proper planning. It's whatever the whole way through, the way you've talked about this is, all right, I set myself a goal. In 100 days, I want to achieve this. And then break it down from there. Go backwards. The other one you've mentioned repeatedly is you go in to meet people. Okay, this whole online thing is, everyone thinks because it's online, it's anonymous, but it's not. It's all about relationships. You go and meet people, you start liking them, you gain their trust, and then something magical happens. They trust you enough, they like you enough to go, right, this guy can help me. You did the hustle. You just went out and, looked at your stats and went, I didn't have 100 sales on one day. No, I had 1 on one day, 3 on the next, none of the next, but on average 1 per day. And then once you had the 50, you then created this thing. You also created something which is very, very important, namely the group, the group dynamic, the community. So those, I guess, are my, the outside perspective why I think you managed to pull this off the way you did. And I think these are very, very important takeaways. What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess, I've had a few people have kind of said in the past, when I've told them what I did, I mean, this was only, what are we now, December, so this was only in March, so this was only, a matter of months ago. I said, a lot of people, friends and people I've told what I did, they kind of said, there's a product in that, you could create a product about that. And I said, well, the problem is it's hard to teach, because ultimately what I've done is I've kind of spent the last 2 or 3 years building up this reputation, I guess, and building up this thing, so that ultimately when I said I'm opening a coaching program, people were genuinely interested because they sort of knew who I was and they'd seen stuff I was doing, as opposed to, I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some people who joined the program who hadn't heard nothing of me, like they didn't know who I was, but for the most part, the reason it got some attention in the first place, I guess, is because people knew who I was. So I thought it's hard to teach, because ultimately, if you are brand new, then I thought you might find this harder to do. But actually, one of my friends is in a different marketplace altogether, but again has a Facebook community, well, not Facebook community, a Facebook friends list, I guess, of people interested in his market. And I literally said, try this, and he did it, and it worked. Now, he sold a $5,000 course and sold much fewer of them, like 10, I think, but still.
Well, it's half a car. Well, half of your half car.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, okay, just to untangle this, when you talk about this, I just want to, I get it, I just want to make clear everyone on this call gets it. When you say teach this, what you're referring to is basically what we talked about today. Using Facebook to promote a product and then, hustle your way to a sale a day, if you like, for a high-end ticket. But to me, this kind of highlights the fact, and you once again cover that in DMB, that although I don't think you say it explicitly, that affiliate marketing, there is basically the faceless affiliate marketing, and then there is affiliate marketing with a face, if we want to call it that way. So a lot of people, when they hear, well, you can make a lot of money with affiliate marketing, they assume, well, that's simply driving some traffic from A to B and then make a lot of money. Well, there are some people who can make that work, but in my experience, you make a whole lot more money when you drive people to offers you have reviewed and they trust you and they like you, and there's actually that relationship going. So, and I think that is the essence of what you're saying here, is like, in order to pull this off, you need to get over the fact, or over the stupid idea, in my opinion, it's stupid, that it's just a numbers game, and the more traffic you drive, the more money you will make. Well, you will, but you'll be stuck at that 1% level. So in order to get to this level where you go, right, I want to buy this $200,000 car, you're going to have to go out and start building relationships and really provide high quality stuff, not just, use the standard pre-formulated sales pages, or, come up with, what are they called, the flogs, fake blogs, where you go, yes, me too, I had impotence, and then I took this magic herb here, and, blah, and suddenly it's like, no, that's bullshit. People don't trust you that way. So I think big takeaway is, and I should put that on this next page on the insides, is, right, trust, affiliate marketing, and ultimately your own marketing with a face. Put a face to your marketing. Be willing to stand for what you're doing there, and the rest will follow. Right. Any questions? So Deadlift says, well, important are 2 years of preparation. Yes, there will absolutely is preparation in the sense of building up a reputation. Exactly. But I posted a post to my blog yesterday where it's actually based on a conversation I had with Alex. And I asked him, Alex, if you needed to make money right now, would you pick up a set of golf clubs and join the Pro Tour and play golf for money? He said, no, I wouldn't be able to. And a lot of people come into internet marketing or affiliate marketing and go, well, I'll just pick up internet marketing and I'll make lots of money. Well, reality is no, like Golf Pro, you need to practice. if you don't practice. And practice comes in different ways. Actually, being able to do it, being able to deliver it, but also being able to or to have the trust, a relationship that is based on mutual respect and trust. Alrighty. So, anyone has questions? No, that was terrible English. Does anyone have questions?
I guess the in terms of referring back to what somebody just asked, then in terms of the 2 years preparation, yeah, absolutely. Although that 2 years preparation wasn't me going, okay, so if I keep doing this, then in 2 years' time I'll be able to sell 50 copies of a $2,000 product in 50 days. That wasn't the goal. I guess I did. That was just you should be doing that anyway. You should be attending events if you possibly can, and going to webinars and just making sure people know who you are. I mean, getting in the face of people. Recording. There's a guy in the UK that does this really well. He just records videos all the time, just cool, quirky little 6-7 minute videos about and there'd be about different things all the time. So there might be one about a cool organizational technique. There might be one about getting affiliates. There might be one about, different things. And then just posting them in Facebook groups and just as free content, no pitches, no nothing, just literally just shoving free content all over the place. And the one thing that is happening is the guy's starting to get recognized.
Mark, can you give me 1 second? My wife is clearly phoning me. So just keep talking. I'll be right back.
No problem. Yeah, so, people... life, I guess, in business is just about particularly online, it's really just about making friends with people. And a lot of people say to me, but how do you recruit affiliates? And I say, well, ultimately, you can't just beg them to promote because they'll just get bored and go away. Ultimately, it's just about making friends and making connections with people. And the truth is, most of us make friends in real life. We go out and meet people and have drinks and, make friends, meet people and turn them into friends. Badger them into becoming friends. And I guess most important aspects of internet marketing revolve in some respect around the ability to do that. So in terms of finding affiliates and also finding potential customers, it's just about being a nice person and just putting yourself out there and being willing to just record little videos showing bits and pieces of what you're up to and all of that. And it's those kind of things, I guess, that make you stand out. It's those kind of things that help you to do this. So we should all be doing this anyway. So yes, I guess there was 2 years of preparation leading up to me doing this, but those 2 years of preparation were things I'd have been doing anyway, or should have been doing anyway, like attending events and talking to people and going on webinars and just trying to get so that people know who I am and things. So, I think that's really important.
Alrighty, I'm back. Never
Cool.
managed to get my wife. Oh God, there she is. Okay, can you talk for another minute? Bloody hell.
Yeah, so that's one thing, and I mean, there's examples of this. I remember, I think it was earlier this year or maybe last year, Brad Goss and Anthony Aries, two marketers, did a launch of a product that was to do with traffic, and they wanted to get loads of affiliates on board and make sure they got all the affiliates they wanted. So one of the things they did was, Brad has a full-time cartoonist working for him, so he had the cartoonist, or a few actually, I think, had the cartoonists do little caricature, funny, comical cartoons of a load of marketers. And literally, he then started sending those cartoons around to all those different marketers. And so obviously, all these different people, hundreds of people were delighted to open up their inbox one day and see this message from Brad Goss with this little cartoon image of them and go, oh, that's really cool. I can use that in marketing and on my blog and pages and whatnot. So that happened, and then suddenly all of these marketers started posting them on their Facebook profile, going, wow, look at this cool thing I got from Brad Goss and Anthony Aries this morning, blah, 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 blah. I know they've got their launch coming up, I wonder why. And everybody knew they were doing it because they wanted to get people's attention and make them want to promote their stuff. So then when the launch came around, which was a traffic offer thing, when the launch came around, all these people promoted it. So in terms of getting affiliates, it's all about just standing out. I mean, if you can dig out your favorite guru's office address, find out when their birthday is, and make sure they get a handwritten birthday card from you if you have to. Anything bar turning up outside their house with a sign that says we love you, Michael Sam, or whatever. Do whatever you need to do to get their attention and stand out. Make sure people know who you are. And really, that's all it comes down to, is just being willing to put yourself out there. There were things like my mentor is Alex Jeffries, and there were things like in his coaching program, there was a couple of weeks where he he was away somewhere and asked me to cover his coaching webinar for him. So I did. I went on. I spoke for a couple of hours and ran the training webinar that he would have run had he been at home. And again, I have no doubt things like that will have all helped to build my kind of reputation on the internet as being someone that knows what he's talking about. Doing this call right now, again, there's people listening to this call, there's people who will listen to this call who've never heard of me.
No, Mark, surely not.
So, it's all about things like that.
And which incidentally goes back to meeting people and the hustle. This is this idea that you just switch on a tap and it all happens magically. Yes, that'll make you some money, but it'll make you a whole lot more money to actually go out. And this is not restricted to online marketing. I first got this concept from Chet Holmes, who's now passed on, unfortunately. And he says, if you want to get offline clients, for example, or real business clients, you make yourself a list of the top 100 people you want, and then you go and pursue them in a nice way. But that's what you go after, and you basically hustle. You make it work one by one. Now, I reckon we should probably start wrapping up. So I've got a couple more questions here, and I'm going to answer them. And if you want to chip in, Tony wants to know: you had to know your subject that you taught. Is that part of your 2-year build-up? So before you answer that, here's my take on the you had to know your subject. Of course, you have to know your subject, and in Mark's case, it may well be part of the same journey. However, it doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. Or it shouldn't be an obstacle to making money online or making money with your own home business. If you know a subject, or you know someone who's very good at a subject and you could be the marketer for them, there's nothing from stopping you putting together a high quality product and promoting it within a month. Or maybe, if you know your marketing, you could do this with the whole thing here in 1 month. Maybe not 200 grand, but in that direction. You could go out and build relationships in a month. You could, put together the product. If you already know the product, so let's say you are a kick-ass organic gardener, then you don't need to do, I need to build up this great reputation. You can very quickly, especially with paid advertising, establish yourself as an expert. You set up your own Facebook page. You start posting really good content, and you find out where the people are hanging out who are totally into organic gardening. So all I want to say here is you need to separate those two things. Yes, if, like Mark, you are teaching internet marketing stuff, then you're using internet marketing to promote your own internet marketing course material. But a lot of people come into internet marketing and then go, well, I have no experience, and therefore I'm going, it's going to take a long time if I want to teach internet marketing. True, but look what other areas in your life you have experience, which you could then leverage. The more you can remove from that giant plate of stuff that needs to be done, the better. And I'll give you an example. There was one guy, I've kind of had a look at his status updates. He did... I've forgotten both his name and the product he sold, but it was kind of a sort of personal development type thing. And all he did for about a month was post all kinds of inspirational stuff on Facebook. I don't know why I kept getting his Facebook updates, but there you go. Updates. And at the end of the month, suddenly there was, oh, by the way, I've got a course. And it was a huge success. Well, I didn't sign up for it, but so it goes to show you don't forget about the idea that you have to do internet marketing and teach internet marketing. Use internet marketing to find something of value. Either you've got it yourself or someone else has it, and then you use internet marketing to promote that thing. So, Antonio also says, of course we've heard of you, Mark. So, your take on that last point, you had to know your subjects, or is that part of your 2-year build-up?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yes. In my instance, yes, I learned kind of everything I taught over the past couple of years. Having said that, I'm also a firm believer that there's really nothing new on the internet. Shock horror, there's nothing particularly new about what I teach. It's all stuff I've learned and then just put my own angle on it.
Well, it's your experience. That's the key thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it's the case with the majority of industries that you could sell information in, whether that be flower arranging, cooking, whatever. Most things are a case of learning stuff, putting your own angle on it, and then teaching it again. So there's no reason why you can't go out there. And the truth is that the way I see internet marketing is if you look at big information publishing companies, our kind of gurus that we look towards, people like Frank Kern and Mike Filsaime, etc. We look at them and say, oh my God, you know, that they're making tens of millions of dollars. But actually, if you look at if you want to really true, they're the small fish in the information publishing industry. Want to know who the real players are? We're talking about the big publishing companies, you know, book publishers. People putting physical books out there in the biggest bookshops in the world, you know, doing print runs of hundreds of thousands of books. We're talking millions and millions of dollars a book. We're talking, you know, probably hundreds of millions, if not billions a year. And I kind of look towards them. And if you look at the publishing, look at the publishers, they are they're the people to look at, because the way I see it is that they don't know anything about the topics that, you know, they might have 100 different books on 100 different topics by 100 different authors, and the people that own the publishing company know nothing about any of those topics except for the fact that they will sell and have a marketplace. So fundamentally, there's no reason why you couldn't team up with someone who is an expert on something. I'm getting married next year, and we were talking to our wedding photographer, and he was talking about the fact there's a lot of kind of cowboys in the wedding in the photography industry. People who've gone out and spent £1,000 or £2,000 on a camera, and now they're a photographer. Whereas the truth is, they have no artistic flair or ability or talent at all, and really don't know what they're doing. But they're going out and charging, you know, way under their value, well, way under the market value for doing weddings, and it's harming, you know, trained good photographers. And I said to him, well, look, why don't you do, you know, he's charismatic, etc. Why don't we do a photography course? You put together the content, I'll help you sell it on the internet. And it's probably, I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but at some point in the next couple of years, we'd like to do it. So ultimately, if you don't know anything about anything, find someone who does, team up with them and split the money. I mean, half of the money is better than none of the money. Alternatively, go out there, you know, say, right, I'm going to dedicate the next 6 months to becoming an expert on this, you know, whether that be driving traffic, Facebook ads, vegetarian cooking, you know, plant growing, whatever, and then become an expert on it. You know, you can make yourself an expert. The truth is, actually, if you go to Amazon and you search your topic, so let's imagine you want to do a product on this building, no, affiliate marketing. If you go to Amazon and search for affiliate marketing and then buy the top 10 books on affiliate marketing, if you go through the chapters and just read the summary bullet points from each chapter, you'll probably know more about affiliate marketing than the majority of people in the world, so, and have enough to teach them. So, you know, it doesn't take long to become an established expert on something, or team up with somebody else.
Oh, we could go so deep, but we could speak for hours on this. So let's wrap it up then. Thank you very much. Any final questions? I'm going to count to 3 before we go to this. Thanks. All right. It's all saying thanks. If you want to go and check out the entire recordings of the $2,000 course, you can do so here at onlinerule.com/DMB, Digital Marketing Bootcamp. And if you want to reach you personally, where's the best place, Mark?
Best place probably is to hang out on my blog, which is at markmilburn.com. The only thing to point out that Mark has a C on the end instead of a K. Most obviously people spell it with a K, mine's a C. So just go there and hang out on my blog. And we kind of it's been a bit abandoned recently, but we'll be updating it.
markmilburn.com, right?
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to hang out, and you can jump on my list there and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so the cool thing is, just to clarify, what we've done with the blessings of the students is, so nobody's annoyed or pissed off or anything, but we've taken the original $2,000 course, we've packaged up the core webinars from it, and we've put them out it's released as a $27 product. So you can actually take just the recordings of those webinars. It's still all of the basic webinar training. It's obviously there's no email access. They got original, you know, email access to me and all of my products and that kind of thing for $2,000. What we've taken though is the core of the program, the real value of it, and packaged it up as a $27 product. So you can go and check that out there, and you don't have to invest $2,000 in it. Just go and grab a copy for $27, and if you like it, great. And I'm pretty sure that you will.
I'm going to add something to it, because a lot of people are going to go. I happen to know. I regularly talk to lots of people on my list, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, 2-hour webinar, it's far too long." The beauty is that all the slides are in there as well. So you can look at the slides, and you very quickly know exactly where to go in the webinar if there's something you want clarification on, if you want more in-depth information. So absolutely fantastic, because the slides basically give you the high-level overview, and then you can, dip in to the webinar recordings. Alrighty, cool. Well, thank you very much, Mark. It was very, very cool.
Okay.
And I put out the challenge: go out and do this stuff. I mean, as you saw, it's not very difficult. What would you say was the most difficult part, Mark?
Probably just having the confidence to do it, and actually, after we'd sold the first one, having the persistence, I guess, to keep going and think, well, I posted one Facebook status and didn't sell all 100 copies, so is this going to work? But actually having the persistence to say, I'm going to keep on posting, I'm going to keep on finding new ways to frame it, new kind of angles for the Facebook statuses and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, probably just having the confidence to start and the persistence to continue.
That's an awesome summary. Just go do it, and in the beginning it's going to be scary, and the whole secret of doing this online thing is basically to try different things, and then the rest will follow. Can I paste the URL into the webinar? Of course I can. The first one is...
A lot of people are scared of doing stuff in case it doesn't work. But people say, people always say to me, when I say, what's the biggest reason for you not being successful online? People say, it's because I'm, too frightened of, what might happen. And I say, well, the truth is, you have to look at it two ways. You have to look at, what's the worst that would happen. The worst case scenario is you don't sell anything and you make no money, but you've lost nothing. But actually, worse than that, I think, is you need to think about what happens if what would happen if you don't do it. So if you currently sit wherever you are right now, whether say you're not making any money at the moment, for example, the worst case scenario is you take what I've taught you today, you go and you implement it, and you use it somehow, and nothing happens, and then that's a shame. But the worst case, but you move on and try something different, or you re-angle it, or you look at something different, or you try a different market, etc. You keep trying it until it does. Somebody actually said to me the other day, one of my students said, I've got this product, I've tried it for a while. At what point should I give up and assume that it doesn't work? And I say, well, never give up and assume it doesn't work. If you've made a product and you aren't making $1 million a year with it, there's only three things wrong. You either haven't got the product's wrong, you haven't got enough traffic, or the sales process is wrong. And I said, and basically you have to just keep tweaking those three things until it is making $1 million a year. There's nothing wrong with it. You just have to keep tweaking those three things. Either the product or the product or the branding is wrong. You haven't got enough traffic or enough marketing nous, or the promotion side is wrong. The price is wrong. The sales material is wrong. Something in those elements. But ultimately, if you just keep tweaking those three things, then everything you do should be making you millions a year. And it's just a constant strive. Don't get me wrong. Not everything I'm doing is making me $1 million a year, but at the same time, everything I am doing, I'm tweaking until it gets to that point.
And that is the cool thing, to tweak things because they are little tests. You get a feedback and then you go, that worked, I'll do more of that, and that didn't work, that didn't work. It's not a personal it's not attached to your self-worth or your value. And trust me, I've been there. Like when I got my first refund request, I'm going, what? I put all this effort into my product. How dare they? What's wrong with these people? And you get unsubscribes from your email list. You put out email, I do a lot of email marketing. I put out an email and there are no responses. I put out a blog post and then there's no response. I'm like, oh my goodness. But after 12 seconds, you let go and go, well, that was feedback. Now let me figure out why that one didn't work and the last one worked, and what can I do better next time? That is the big secret. I tell you what, I just had an idea, and that is this. Because you've said the big secret is to keep tweaking, what I'm going to do is I am going to add a bonus here. Reply to fight, and you basically need to send the receipt to me. Is there a way I can get all buyers' addresses from you, or shall I ask everyone to send receipts to me? Mark?
It's probably easier if they forward their receipts to you.
Okay,
if
all right.
You can verify them.
Cool. So send them to replytofight@googlemail.com, and I'm going to copy that into the chat. Boom. Most people will have my email address anyway. And what I'm going to do is add a presentation, which I'm yet to create. It's coming up. I've got a world-class guy he got voted Mentor of the Year, and he's also an expert at Lean Startup. So Quentin and I will be doing a session on lean startup. The idea is exactly what we've talked about in the last few minutes, that you take a concept, an idea, and very, very quickly test if it has legs or not. And if not, what you need to change in order to make it work. So that is going to be my bonus if you pick up DMB through that link up there, onlinerule.com/DMB, and you get the lean startup training. Not training. Can't type. Alrighty, cool. Let me save that. Alrighty, thank you very much. Really, really useful, Mark. Really, really cool. Fantastic stuff. I'm now going to set a goal of doing some crazy stuff on Facebook. I've always shied away from Facebook because of some inherent dislike of all the sharing of private stuff and motivational quotes. My take is, if you need so much motivation, why don't you just spend the same time you're spending on reading motivational quotes and get some stuff going? And the success you get from there will more than make up from the little buzz you get from Facebook. But I do realize Facebook is a huge thing, so I'm going to go and actually do it. So I'll set some crazy goals. Although my wife will not let me have a gas-guzzling two-seat sports car. I don't know what's wrong with her.
Actually, what happened in the end was we did sell the 100, just to cap it off. We did sell the 100. I kept going after the 50, 60 days, and we did sell the 100 places in a little over 100 days. And we did. I ended up doing some other stuff as well. I did some webinars and things, and that was what got me up there. But we did. I decided not to buy the car in the end. I've got an Audi TT as it is, so I decided I'd stick with that. That's expensive enough to run, and I'm going to use the money to pay off our mortgage instead. So a more sensible approach on that, so you're all right.
Also sensible. And next time we talk, I'll tell you my Audi TT coupe story, which I drove, was only allowed to drive at 60 miles an hour. To this day, we're arguing about this. Alrighty. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for everyone on the call. I hope you enjoyed it. Very useful stuff, and goes to show how simple it really is. Okay, it is simple. It's not necessarily easy, but the real obstacle has nothing to do with technology, has nothing to do with crazy concepts you may not understand. You basically have all the concepts you already need, or you can acquire them very, very quickly. Just subtly pointing at, for example, Mark's Digital Millionaire Bootcamp. But it is very easy to get the fundamental stuff. The main obstacle is really in your head. You just need to go and hustle. You need to build relationships. You need to get over the idea that all this stuff will happen on autopilot. And once you accept that and you start, doing stuff, and you accept the occasional failure, feedback. It's not failure, it's feedback that says, well, that didn't work. Then you go out and tweak it and try something else. And that is the secret of making it online. Alrighty, on that very happy note, I wish you a wonderful day. For me, it's the weekend, starting very soon. So, all the best. Speak soon.